you've been to Vancouver's Saturday Market and noticed an old house nearby in the park across from Vancouver City Hall. That house, built in 1877, used to be a thriving community scene. KXL's Veronica Carter looks at the rise and fall of the Slocum House Theater.
The Clark County Historical Society and Museum recently published a cover story by longtime newsman Dave Paul about Vancouver's grande dame of community theater, Hermine Decker. The article is titled Mrs. Decker's Dream House and tells the story of her efforts to found the Slocum House Theater located in Esther Short Park. Paul interviewed Mrs. Decker.
It's a strange house. It hooks people. There's something awfully funny about that house. Houses have personalities anyway. And I was hooked. And so I was so afraid that I was over-enthusiastic that I rounded up all of the theater people around the town and took them down. And they were hooked too.
It was 1965 when Decker joined forces with Vancouver businessman Robert Hidden to resurrect the Slocum House and remake it as a community theater.
It was the first fine house to be built in Clark County. It's built in the New England style of Victorian house with the widow's walk on the top. And actually, although Mr. Slocum was not a sea captain, as some people seem to think, you can see clear down the Columbia River. You still can if you get up into the tower.
The urban renewal folks wanted to demolish the abandoned old house, but Decker and Hidden saved it by drumming up financial support from Vancouver's community leaders. The Slocum House was owned by the city and rented to the budding theater group.
We ran into a lot of opposition at first. They wanted to bulldoze it down. He's very much against our trying to save it. Some people just think they should tear things down, I guess.
Mrs. Decker was head of the college drama department and began producing plays under the Slocum House name of the college, using a mix of student and community actors. By the time the Slocum House was fully remodeled and opened to the public in 1972, there was a loyal base of theatergoers ready to buy tickets. There was a mix of shows ranging from the Victorian era to Broadway and beyond.
We've done, of course, Shaw, and you can do Shaw, and you can do Ibsen, and we're trying to do a lot of the unknowns. We're searching out. Every time I go to New York, I go down to the Greenwich Village and pick up plays in the old secondhand shops.
One of Mrs. Decker's students at Clark College, Hollywood movie actor Sam Elliott, graduated just a few months before the Slocum House era, and so was never on stage there. The theater was a labor of love, staging 6 to 8 productions a year, produced entirely by volunteer actors and crew for 46 years. But it was not to last. Mrs. Decker lived to see her dream house thrive. She died in 1996 at the age of 88. The Slocum House Theater closed abruptly in March 2012, never to return. There'd been a dispute over a steep rent increase. The theater's board of directors decided to pull the plug and move on. The closure was final. The perennial favorite, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, was produced almost every December. Today, the city of Vancouver offers rental space at the Slocum House for weddings and events.